The slip? Because I watched.
Oh, good. No, if you could, please.
Yeah.
There might be two there, I'm not sure, but that makes you official. I don't know if they're the same or different.
Oh, the other one is something different.
All set, guys? Yeah.
Chelsea? Okay, good.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to open up the meeting for the Conservation Commission for August 10th. First on the agenda, we have a notice of intent public hearing for 25 Myrtle Street. And you're representing the applicant, sir?
Yes, my name is Seth LaJoy, and I'm representing Jason Teston, who's the owner of the property. And what we're looking to do here is we have an existing 4-bedroom home. It is.
Why don't you stand over there and see if that happens?
Is this working? I can hear
Is that
that.
better from this mic over here, ma'am?
You want me to?
Okay, so now we'll get into that.
Just what you ordered.
Okay, that's fine.
Someday we're gonna make it real.
Gina, tilt it towards us a little bit if you could, please. Super, thank you. Okay.
Nice help.
Thank you. So what we have here is we have an existing single-family dwelling. It's 4-bedroom, and it's got a failed septic system. And what they're doing is they're looking to upgrade the septic system to make it conforming with Title V and everything else. We have an existing well in the front of the property. If you look, it's at the top of the page. It's forcing us into the back of the property, which is where the existing system lies today. We're keeping the system outside of the 50-foot buffer zone completely, and the majority of, if not all of the grading, is also going to be outside of that 50-foot buffer zone. The site right now is a little bit disturbed just because there was a lot of trash and debris and stuff that was in the back that they took out of there. But I mean, it's a septic upgrade. That's what we're looking to do. We're not looking to do anything other than that. Does the commission have any questions or comments?
Where's the existing leach field now for the
The existing leach field is actually shown on that plan. It's kind of a bold area that says approximate location of existing SDS, which is kind of near the septic tanks.
I see, yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna clean that out?
Yeah, I mean, any portion of that they encounter during construction is going to be pumped out. That excavation, the portion of the system is going to be removed, and it will be backfilled with clean sand.
Janet, you went up to the site, correct?
Yes, I did. That's the pictures. I think I was there on Monday.
I think we have, first, why don't we go over just some administrative things that are items that are not on the plan that should be, okay? I'll let Janet go over that with you, I think.
I'm sorry, for me to go over? Yeah. Can I? I'm sorry. I do all this wonderful stuff and I don't. Thank you. I'm sorry. I can't find my folder. Some of this we've been emailing back and forth, so we did get that check for the ad. And he adjusted the paperwork, because originally it said proposed addition and septic, but it's the
There was no addition. It was just the septic and the grading associated with it.
right, and the property owner information, we worked that out for that odd name there for the
Yes, ma'am.
recording information. I was having a little trouble with the sheets for the BVW. I tried to print it out and it kept doing stupid margins, but you didn't say where you did that was it you that did that delineation?
I did do the delineation, yeah.
Okay,
And,
you didn't put where you did
okay,
that spot from. Right, we got the signatures, and I sent you the quad map or whatever it was, so you'd have it. But if you can just, I'd prefer if you could double check, and that's one of the pictures on that sheet. I think the people in town, forgive me, Myrtle Street, and you got that big field area with all the school buses that park.
Homes.
Okay, and he's got, you'll notice that little dip normally, because there's like the water channel that comes through, they don't quite mow there. So it comes underneath, and that's that green part, this B flagging area on the plan.
Correct.
So I was just a little concerned, because I came up, you know, from the property up to the street, and I think they have 3, I don't know if those are what, 12-inch corrugated pipes for that water flow that comes through, so whether that should be considered, even though it doesn't flow all the time, you know, intermittent stream, which will have a regular buffer zone, but as far as if there's wetlands associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know they've been doing, I was trying to do some augering back there as that goes further down. And like you said, they've been doing a lot of work with machines or something, because you're not getting the original soils, but
Well, I think a lot of that was actually pushed around long before they came out there and cleaned it up. I mean, it was literally, there was just piles of garbage out there.
it was interesting walking around, yeah.
Yeah.
And another concern I have, right behind the house, so you walked out and about, right? And in the back of the house, they've got maybe a 3-inch white PVC pipe that runs right down to the rocks. If you're not careful, you'll trip over it, because it's out of the ground.
Okay.
Okay, but that ties right in where your back wetland line, see how that loops down and then comes up to the stone wall? No, not that one, the other green line. Yeah, right there, right there.
It's somewhere
If
in
from
here.
there, just head right towards the house, and as soon as you go over that stone wall, there's that PVC pipe, which keeps, it's probably 10 feet right above the ground, so it looks like it's, whatever's coming out of there might be feeding that, you know, that up wetland area, so I'm not sure where that pipe's coming from.
I can go check that, but I would think that that's either gonna be a footing drain or it's gonna be downspouts for the house. It would be, that's what.
That's just odd to be so far away, and my concern is just if
If the
that,
downspout for the house, it would be coming off the house, if you'd notice it. It was a footing if it was a drain footing for the drain, it would be lower than the grade of the foundation, just to let the water pitch down, so that probably isn't either one.
Well, but with the walkout elevation's at 93, and where if that pipe is daylighting somewhere down in here, you're looking at a 80, you know, that's 84, 85. I'd say that. there's
well,
plenty of
but
pitch
it's
there.
just standing there looking from the pipe, because then you got the little path and then it's that wetland. I'm not sure if something's coming from that pipe to that wetland, and would we be messing things up if you're pulling out that pipe? That was where you've got that point for the wetland, and then not far away is that pipe. It just, you know, it needs an answer.
What is that emptying into the resource area, that pipe?
I don't know. There was nothing coming out of that pipe, but we're also in drought, you know, so it's just to kind of double check on that, because that's that one high point. And plus, right at the top of that wetland line, there's boulders, almost like a little retaining wall, and then it's down and you got the skunk cabbage and everything right there. So that's a nice kind of wet area. I was just curious about that pipe, if that's contributing.
If it's contributing to it or not. I mean,
Right.
I can definitely look into that, but I mean,
Yeah, and if you could just spot check along the side of the septic where that whole, do I have flag numbers? You know, like this
B series?
B5, B4, yeah, where you're picking up out there all those maple trees. Just curious. You know, I know they've done a lot of work out there, so I kept trying, and I don't think I was hitting original soil,
And
so,
is that, in the picture, is that stone wall there, the one that's on the plan?
yes.
Okay, so if that pipe is right beside the stone wall, it has to be in the resource area, just by this plan.
Yeah, right behind the, you know, because that's, I kept, it
Because
made me
that's,
curious with that wetland.
that stone wall is, right there at the line, so,
Yeah, and that's, yeah, within the 50 foot, so.
correct. So
It's
I guess you're
just-
gonna have to find the origin of that pipe that's emptying into there, so.
Okay.
Or not, you know, it's just odd. Here's this pipe and right there's the
Yeah, I mean,
wetland.
typically, you know, I mean, I don't trace things like that back when I see them. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that for you guys, but I will, and I'll look into it, but it's, you know,
Well,
some,
if you have water dumping into a wetland area, you should know the origin of that.
I agree with that.
And how about, do they have cesspool there now?
Cesspool is far to the,
There's actually some sort of a leaching field there now. There is an existing septic tank that we're looking to
Is
keep.
it shown on the plan?
Your
What?
septic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The current?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's right in back of the house.
it's like a cloud there, they're noted there.
I mean, I don't know exactly what's
Oh,
there,
okay.
but I know
Right
it's
here?
right in that area.
Okay, okay.
And here's,
Should be easy enough to find where the pipe's coming from.
It's got it colored in.
There is some paper. Okay. Right, same thing. I mean, how long since somebody's been in that house? Has it been empty for a while?
It's been empty for a while. I mean, it's certainly been empty since, you know, March of this year, or before March of this year. That's when the ownership.
Yeah, because
ownership
if
change.
that's a leaching area, would they have a pipe coming off the leaching area?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right. Just see,
Normally a drain pipe is perforated, but this is a hardcore PVC pipe.
yeah.
It's almost like they want the water to get so far away before it starts to dump out.
Right, which would, I mean, I've seen that done with downspouts on the house before. I mean,
I've seen it done with gray water too, for a failing septic system.
well, I mean,
If it's a downspout,
if
typically easy.
if that's the case, it's, all of this is gonna be taken care of with the septic being upgraded.
All right, we can move on, but basically you gotta find out where that pipe's coming from.
Okay, and then just how are they gonna access the site for working on it? Are they coming down the driveway and
Yeah,
going
they're gonna
behind the
come, they're
house?
gonna come around this way. This is all, they're gonna come this way.
And, no, but just go a little further and work where, because you've got your erosion control stopping on that side?
Right, I mean, they're gonna come in like this.
Yeah.
They're gonna set this tank. I mean, all of those trucks are gonna be coming this way. They're gonna-
See where you have your erosion controls ending?
Yep,
Over here?
yes.
I just didn't know, do they need to be pulled up or curled around, or can you bring them up to that 50-foot line?
We're actually past the 50-foot line. I mean,
No, but swinging around to the right-hand side of everything.
like here?
No, keep going. Keep going. Which, do I have to do directions? That-a-way.
Like, all right, I mean.
Right here. Way over here, you stop with your erosion controls.
That's correct.
Right, but can you maybe just pull that and curve it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we
That's all.
can, yeah.
Yeah,
we-
they don't-
We can
we
do
got
it,
'em way
whatever
down there, but
whatever
if
you
you-
I
guys.
guess with the grade changes there,
Whatever you guys want us to
with
do.
the heavy equipment coming around, you could have runoff going down there, and it's not protected. I think that's what she's getting at.
Right, and just to kind of keep the machines up in the area that they're working, so they're not,
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to show the area where they're gonna be working, you know, and I'm trying to define that area where they're gonna be working. And we generally do that with the erosion control. So, you know, whatever you guys,
but I don't think they need to be way out there, because
No, they
further
don't.
out.
no, I've actually, the revised plan I've tightened up that line quite considerably. If you know, this was the second iteration of this plan when this was a redesign off of a review from the Board of Health. And then after I did this redesign, the Board of Health came back and said, well, you know, they said we were wrong. We don't need to be 75 feet away from the wetland according to the Board of Health bylaw. So I just took this area that was split as a trench and made one just one trench out of it,
Okay,
basically. And I
so
tightened
this-
up that erosion control as a result of
But
that.
this,
Yeah, that's what
this
he's got
plan
up
that came in with the notice of intent, is that still the current plan with the Board of Health?
No, these are the,
Oh,
these
this
are
is
the
new
revised
revised,
plans.
okay,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
These are the revised
Power line
plans.
comes up through here.
Well, it was probably like an hour ago, I already forgot.
No, no, I know. It's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's why we're having a little issue. Okay,
Right, I mean,
I'm sorry. We do have a revised plan for what he's talking about, that's why we're kinda on
How
the,
do we get it?
he brought it with him when he came in tonight.
That's the problem.
Okay, okay.
We have the areas, the amount of disturbance on the plan listed.
no, I did not put that on the plan. Yep. That wasn't one of the comments back, so, but I'd be more than happy to supply you with that
I believe
information.
that's one of our regulations.
Is it already lawn?
Pardon me?
Is the area already landscaping, lawn?
Currently lawn. Yep,
So we can put a number on there if we, and note it as previously disturbed.
Yes.
The number should be updated on the plan.
Okay.
We understand.
Yep.
And so litigation goes, you want to put it up to septic as private or what?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're not changing anything. It'd be grass when he's done, same thing as now.
Okay. Any other questions, Janet?
No, I think that was it, just concerns with that, that's a major drainage there, on that side, just to make sure we're clear with that. Curiosity about that pipe, you know, the technical information for the notice of intent, we got all set with that, so.
It's too bad that well radius made you push everything back, huh?
it's, I mean, we're trying to fix a problem, you know, we're not trying to create more problems, we're
Yeah.
trying to fix a failed septic system, you know, so.
Right, yeah. Open up any members of the board, questions on this?
None for me.
I'm good.
All right. Anybody in the audience here for this filing? Right, okay, that being said, we can have this on the agenda for our next meeting, which is the second Wednesday in September. Probably like that. And hopefully you can have the corrected plan back to us a week before, so we have time to
Shouldn't
look at
be
it.
any issue as long as I know what I'm putting on it.
Any questions, you can call our office directly, okay?
Very good.
All right. We're to accept a motion to continue this public hearing to, what is the date of the next meeting, Janet?
9/14, September 14th?
Let's say we have 7:10 open.
Yeah, because I have it penciled in for informal discussion with Andy Bakanowski about those
At what time?
tanks. I just put 7, just
All right, so why don't we schedule this for 7:10 then?
7:10. Is that okay for you, 7:10?
Just
So moved.
dandy.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll see you then.
Very good.
Next, we have the continued hearing for, public hearing for 84 Cleveland Street. Now, is it true, okay, you guys are turning in plans with changes?
Yes,
So
we
really
have a
not much we
revised.
can, not much we can do at this stage then, but what I would like to do is just, you want to go over basically some of the changes that you made to this plan?
Yep.
Last I heard, the folks were out there looking at the wetland line, and your folks agreed with some of ours, but disagreed with others. That's how I had it left. where did it go from there? Because they never went back out again, correct?
No, they didn't. They came to some agreements on some areas. They revised some flags, some other areas. They agreed with our wetland scientist who delineated it.
Right, so after that first meeting in the field, there
Yep.
was conversation between your people and our scientists without going back out to the field?
That's correct.
Oh, all right.
No changes went beyond what was initially discussed on this.
Or could you,
I have revised notice of intent.
Oh, look at
This,
this.
an additional check because we're in the riverfront area now.
Oh, we didn't know about it. We have so much to catch
Yep,
up on.
yep, absolutely.
on the new plan, did you put all the resource areas on there that were up from
And
before?
I'd be happy to go over those.
Why don't you just give us a general recap, because this is gonna go to it's gonna go to the stormwater consultant and the wetland scientist, so they can review this. There's probably gonna need more funding in the, review account before they can look at this, so they can let you know roughly. We'll get some estimates from them
Yeah.
based on these new submissions. All right, yeah. I'm sorry, what was that?
Be at the podium.
Yeah.
Could you put it,
Yeah, I
could you
just
put it,
can't.
just put it over here?
We'll discuss it and point at the same time.
Ensure copies so the audience here can see.
That big screen wasn't working.
You're gonna need to.
Do we have a plan we can hold on the table here? Because that really is barely visible from here.
There's some half-size handouts that we can pass out.
These
Oh, that's
are
good.
good. Lot of press. Let's take it. Go ahead.
Dan?
Oh, awesome, thank you.
Janet, stamp mine. Oh,
It's
Sorry,
this room.
sorry.
No, it's this room.
My name's Travis Brown with Andrews Survey and Engineering, along with the applicant, Mr. O'Hart, for the Lakeland Farms Townhouse Project. Since the last meeting, we've received a letter from the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, which I had supplied here tonight, with their findings on this project regarding endangered species. Also, as previously mentioned, there were some resource areas that were delineated as part of the review consultant on behalf of the Conservation Commission. Those resource areas now show up on this plan. Right here in front of me, I have the existing conditions plan. There's an intermittent stream that comes basically from this culvert that crosses Cleveland Street down into this channel, which ends up into a pipe in this location and discharges on the applicant's property. So that channel has been defined. There's a buffer zone, 50-foot and 100-foot buffer zone.
So you're calling that an intermittent stream now?
That's correct.
Because previously you're talking about as drainage.
That's right. It was agreed on in that site walk with Lenore and our wetland scientists. They came to an agreement that it was an intermittent stream.
All right.
It is shown that way.
All right?
One of the other things, a couple other items, we're showing some approximate wetland locations on the butter's property. You know, there were some old wetland flags hung out there. We located those. Since then, there's been some new delineation on that. So we've extended the buffer zones from that wetland as well. So there's some additional buffer zone in the area of that first detention basin. A couple other changes, there were some revisions to the wetland line. Basically, this finger here was extended. It used to come in, wetland 34 has been eliminated, and the flags were extended to come up and loop around. Buffer zones, again, were revised to show that. Down
Can I
in-
just ask one question?
Sure.
Because you're showing the 34R on here, but where Where was the 34? They're not showing that? They've just,
34 originally is showed grayed out just to show its location, which is in the wetland.
Okay, yep.
oh my good lord, honey. Someday you're gonna be old. That fuzzy area down further? Is that what-
So as we come down this wetland line, there were no changes until we get to this location, where there's then a little bit of excavation, which has been previously discussed here, so there's been some flags around that. We're calling that land underwater. It's about 74 square feet, not BVW. Again, these plans are gonna go to Lenore for review, but this is the gist. As we come around the wetland line, no changes until we get to wetland flag 15. Lenore had suggested in the field that we run from wetland flag 13 to wetland flag 15 and eliminate 14, which we've done. We've revised the buffer zone and also brought our grading out from that detention basin 2. As we come around, we've added a flag, wetland flag 8R, between wetland flag 8 and 9, which basically squares that corner off. There's no impacts to proposed work as we weren't very close to that area. Anyway. This pond, there is a perennial stream exiting. We have defined that, field located it, added the riverfront area. We are just inside the 200-foot riverfront area with our grading for the infiltration basin. Shown in this location, mainly it's tree cutting to be able to work down in there and provide that outlet from that basin. There's approximately, like I said, 619 square feet, 2.5% alteration of the total riverfront area. The revised notice of intent has been updated to include that. The fee has been updated, which is the check that I've given you.
You still have all of these outlet structures here, pretty much on the wetland line, is that correct?
Yeah, well, a lot of this is part of Beta's review. We
You know, right.
made that outside slope 2.5 to 1 as opposed to 3 to 1.
Yeah.
They recommended 2. It's kind of too steep and you'd have to put some kind of fabric down. So we pulled all work away from the wetland line a minimum of 6 feet. Most places it's greater than 6, but as requested by Beta, it's a minimum of 6 feet.
These are so small, it's really hard to review anything at this stage, so
Yeah, I
basically
understand.
take your comments. Keep in mind, I did request a bunch of information, science-wise, to Mr. O'Connell a while ago. I still am in wait for that, which is the reason why that riverine is inapplicable. I think the seasonal stream coming down Cleveland Street, that being changed, that's fine. I still want a construction review of the grading and the outlet pipes with these areas 6 feet from the wetlands now that were on the wetland before. I want those all shown.
Which pipes are those?
All of the work that's going to be done within what used to be on the wetland line. Now it's within 6 feet.
Well, yeah.
I want a detail of all of those blown up so we can see it showing the existing grades, the finished grades, and the work being done.
Yeah, that's all shown on this grading and drainage plan, which there's full-size copies that we have submitted.
Right.
And as part of Beta's review, we have addressed those.
So I can look at that and see the existing grades, what you're changing it to, and the work being done down there?
Absolutely.
All right.
I think there was still a question about the water showing up the well. I don't know if that got worked out. If
Yeah,
that
we'll
was,
ask Lenore. He probably doesn't know about that. so-
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar. There was some water seeping out. I don't think anything became of that.
All right, yeah,
So we'll leave that up to Lenore to review.
okay.
and what was changed with the stormwater report?
So there was some calculations, there was
Yeah.
discrepancies in calculations from the stormwater report itself. providing water quality, volume, and recharge calculations in the hydrocad. Those have all been
Or was
addressed.
that from the original comments from?
Yeah, from
Okay.
ZBA comments from Beta as well as conservation. Those have been addressed. The stormwater report has been revised, and I have provided that.
So the revisions has nothing to do with the revisions to the plan?
No,
It's just the
overall, there's
original
no significant
comments.
revisions to design based on any comments from peer review.
Any other questions, Jim?
I don't think so, because forgive us, we're just gonna have to go through this and then.
Right.
Yeah, I
Lenore-
just wanted
Right,
to provide an update that way, everybody is fresh enough.
Well, plus two, you know, like the stormwater. I know it's somebody else's, but just for quick, does it have anything to do with this change in plans or no? So this is just tweaking the other stuff from before. What you did here won't change any of the stormwater stuff. This was just a little tweaking of what's shown on the pieces of paper, right?
Right, yeah, well, some of these resource areas changed. Like I said, we pulled the proposed work from the wetland line.
Oh, no, that's good. You know, people need room to work. You
Yeah.
know, that's
Based on Beta's comments, we provided that.
super, super.
Those first two items at the first CBA meeting that the lawyer pronounced were just typos
Yep,
with the big significance and the infiltration numbers, et cetera.
yep.
Did those end up being typos?
It was a typo in the report when we were calculating water quality, volume, and recharge volume.
So
There
the
wasn't a typo with what
So the-
impervious area we
All
knew
right.
we had.
So the calculation was incorrect, that was the issue.
The calculations were correct. When we stated it, we gave an erroneous number for calculating it. We gave an impervious area greater than it actually was.
Any other questions, Jim?
No, I think I think we just need to go through this and
Right, yeah. Dan, questions this time? Tom?
Not at this time, no.
Audience, questions? 84 Cleveland Street? We just got these dropped off tonight, so none of this has been reviewed. These plans basically aren't even readable, they're so small, so there's really not much we can comment on tonight, but if you have questions, I'll be happy to. I think the lady working the television would like you to go over to the pedestal there where the microphone's working.
it works better.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You gotta talk to that microphone.
This one?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Dave Poggi, 89 Cleveland. I was just curious, is the Conservation Committee also in charge of the trees, or is it purely the wetlands? What is your charter? It's sort of a clarification, and I guess I have a follow-up.
We're in charge of the trees if they're in the resource area.
They're in the resource area.
What did you mean exactly about which trees we're talking about?
Well, I was able to go to the zoning board's walkthrough as an abutter, and I noticed that there's a lot of mature trees being taken down.
Right.
Suggested to be taken down in the front of the property. And then it was also represented to me by,
They're being taken down now, or they're
for this project to happen.
being proposed to be taken down?
Proposed to.
All right.
And just, I had some observations that
Yeah.
and I don't know if I can visualize this based on what I saw as the walkthrough, but as we walked down here for where these properties were, and I think there was a mention of a new cutout, where there was like a boat launch or land underwater, you said? Yes. It occurred to me that there were several trees in what was called staked out the wetlands area. And
Right.
I asked a specific question of, well, if you think of a tree, you've got the trunk, and then you've got a root ball. And I asked, if something's in the resource area, but it spills into the other area, is it gonna
Right,
go,
yeah,
is it gonna stay?
Yeah.
And what it was represented to me was, no, we'll leave those intact. So when I hear 6 feet and I think about the drip line of a tree, and there's several in the resource area, I'm just concerned, maybe that's not enough for what I saw. The other area that I'm concerned is the front of the property. And if those aren't considered resource area, I guess I won't address it here. You tell me if it's appropriate for here or not.
Right, don't forget, this is a state filing, so in the state filing, if they have any effect on the resource area, like taking trees down, it really gets bypassed because it's a state filing. All we can really address here is anything taken down in the actual wetland. Because with the state law, you can work right up to the wetland line. As I said before, in the local bylaws in Norfolk, if you affect the resource area, which is 100 feet outside of a wetland or a stream or whatever, we have jurisdiction and can stop that. On a state filing, we can't. So basically, they're doing a whole bunch of work in our resource area right now.
Yeah.
If they're taking down trees as part of that work in the resource area, locally, we really don't have any jurisdiction because it's a state filing and they bypass all of that.
And do we have any recourse to go to the state with local concern?
All of your concerns are going to be met through the ZBA. They're the ones that really control the whole project, and our report is given to them. So if you feel there's too many trees taken down that really don't have to be,
Yeah.
they could work that into their decision to try to, or whether the applicant wants to work with that or not. If they're taking down trees that you don't believe that any need to be taken down, then you can certainly bring that up and maybe they can restrict the project and save some of those mature trees.
But bring it up with the zoning.
But that would be,
board.
that would be the zoning board, correct,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, does the resource area include what's now being called as an intermittent stream that runs down in Cleveland, or is that only?
The actual stream is under state jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction 100 feet off of the stream, but state-wise, if they have any effect on the stream, that becomes consequential in this filing.
Sorry, I didn't follow that one.
I don't blame you. So basically, when they're doing all their work around, as long as the actual stream itself isn't encumbered on, then they're fine.
Okay.
If they were working under a local filing, then we would be controlling everything within 100 feet on either side of that stream, let alone just the stream itself.
Right.
As it stands now, in theory, they could take down all of the trees just outside and around that stream if they chose. And we would have no jurisdiction unless we could prove it was affecting the actual stream itself.
Understood. So then the jurisdiction tends to be more on the lower side of the property where the wetlands are?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And just to understand the jurisdiction there again, we've got a consultant who says 6 feet from where the wetlands line is their recommended.
Yeah, okay.
The civil engineer said we're not going to touch anything that has, root ball in and out of wetlands.
Right.
How does that get enforced? And
Well,
how do those rules get set up?
Well, first, we're gonna look at the schedules on what type of work they're doing within 6 feet of the wetland.
Yeah.
We're assuming that when they're working within 6 feet of the wetland, there's not a drop of dirt that's gonna be dropped in the wetland or runoff or anything. If we determine that it could be, then we will push them, regardless of what our engineer suggested, we will make them push that back farther until we're assured that what they're doing outside of the wetland area is not going to affect that. So the engineer can come with the report based on what his science is, but we have a different perspective somewhat because they have to prove to us with the work and the equipment, et cetera, that they're doing down there, that nothing is going into the wetland area. And I mean nothing.
Right.
And if this board decides that we feel that there is something going in there, we would more than likely be asking them to push the work back further. And if they chose not to push that back further, then we have the option to deny this filing. So basically, why I mentioned the last two meetings, I want to see the detail with the existing conditions, the finished conditions, what's being done, what type of work is being done, so we can determine whether they can realistically do that 6 feet outside of a wetland plant and not affect that. That's why I asked for these backup schedules a while ago, and that's what we're going to be reviewing.
And does the town have financial recourse if that's ignored or accidentally somebody backs over something? One of my observations from being on the site is that you do have several trees within what was explained to me as the wetland area, but you also have several shrubs in between the trees and varying heights, but to the point where I'm in excess of 6 foot, you couldn't see through them.
Right, nothing in the wetland can be taken down or touched.
Understood.
Right.
But my question is, do we have recourse or can we take protection from that happening? Because one of the things I'm seeing is there's several properties that from a commercial point of view, I could only imagine are being set up to be able to look out over the water.
Right.
That's why you call it Lakeland Farms, but right now in summer, you can't see the water from the vantage point of most of them. So it would be a shame if, for some reason, for a commercial reason, somebody accidentally knocked over a bunch of the shrubs and other things that aren't necessarily called trees, but are very obviously going to impact the commercial value of the property.
These things are all that you're talking about that are going to be disturbed are in the actual wetland.
Yes, and what was marked, there was stakes further away from where the ground was that was considered wetland. There was trees that were inside and outside on the same tree. There was several shrubs right along the water line that you simply can't see through.
Right. If there's anything that's on or in the wetland, they can't touch it.
So my question again goes to what's the recourse? Because my concern would be with a project of this nature, maybe you have temporary labor that doesn't have the same concerns that Norfolk does, doesn't have the same concerns that we do, and they go, somebody goes through with a chainsaw and knocks down all the shrubbery, which improves the view and the commercial value of these properties, but isn't in line with Norfolk's own intent to protect our conservation lands.
We are having this hearing now as an agent for the state. This is state filing, but we do have enforcement rights. So if we see anything going on in the wetland that shouldn't be, we have the right to stop the project with a cease and desist and get remedies to correct what's been done. So I would guess that while this project's going on, our agent will be out there regularly, because anybody working this close to that area, we want to protect to make sure that nothing goes in the area that's protected. When you design a plan like this, and you have the approach that we're going to work right up to that, then my position would be one drop of dirt shouldn't be in there.
Right.
That would cause a real problem as far as I would be concerned. Again, because you're precocious enough to work and say you're going to work right there at that line.
Yeah.
So it'll be watched, believe me. But before that even, we want to see whether this 6-foot distance is really a proper distance to do the work that they have to do without affecting anything.
John, the board does have recourse that if they knock down trees inadvertently, we could say plant new trees there where you took them down or something like that, so.
That's correct.
Oh, Mr. Middleton, if I may, some towns have it too, and it's happened here too, I think, where they'll have them if there's particular trees that they don't want hurt, that they put that wooden fencing around them while the machines are working, because sometimes there's a little whoopsie, but you're protecting those bigger trees. They might not be able to do it, and it might not be financially worth it for the shrubs, but at least those bigger trees that you're concerned about, because you can't replace a 30 or 50 or whatever year old tree, But if there's critical ones that might be of concern, they might be able to just kind of protect those when they're doing that heavy equipment work.
Okay. And then just the understanding that was represented to me that a tree has a root ball, right? You cut off part of the root ball, you kill the tree, so that's where accidents are going to happen. If the tree is partly in the wetland and partly out, is it a 6-foot border from there?
6-foot border from where?
From where the tree's root ball is? I mean, there are some large pines and other trees there that frankly are half and half.
Right. In theory, they could take down the tree if it was on outside of the wetland line, but they couldn't remove the root ball.
So if it's half and half, they can take it out.
Right, they can take down the tree, but not the root ball, and that is the case actually in a lot of filings we have. They take trees down, but they don't remove the roots because it's a disturbance.
So the tree itself is not part of the wetlands.
Correct. Good question, though.
Wait, I think
Right here.
the wetland line is a distinct line.
Yeah.
Anything on the outside of that, in this case, is fair game, including that root ball. So what you're getting at is, can they sever half of that root ball in the? Yes, they can, as long as they don't cross that line.
So what the civil engineer represented then wasn't the case. Okay. And then I think I heard that there was a new filing of something about the endangered species, and I know that in the past we've heard about a heritage committee and that sort of thing. Are those related?
Yep.
Is that something that gets posted online for
It sounds like they just got a letter from Natural Heritage approving the project, is that correct? With no, is there just a financial contribution you're making? Is that was the final finding?
There's a turtle protection plan that needs to be in place prior to construction.
Okay, and you can get a copy of this anytime you like, it's public information. We haven't read it yet, we just got it, but apparently they're listing the requirements for working in this area before the folks start. And you can get a copy of this and see what they're required to do or protect. Okay.
Okay. I think the rest of the things I was curious about are for your instruction, better for the zoning board, so I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, just real quick, proximity to the wetland and work line. I know, Mr. Littleton, I think you brought up in a past meeting erosion control and how are they going to stay outside of that wetland. On the revised plans, we have identified a couple different erosion control. The erosion control that we previously had on the plan, and then starting in this location along the wetland line, and specifically where work is in close proximity, we are proposing a silt fence, 12-inch compost sock, and then a orange high visibility construction fence in front of that.
That's good.
So it'll be clearly demarcated where the line is, where they can work to.
But this is not a place for straw wattles.
That's correct. Not in this location against wetland, I agree. And the other part, I think, of that is before construction, these erosion controls will be staked out, and they will be inspected by you prior to construction as
Correct.
standard practice.
Correct. Anybody else have any questions on this filing? All right, so we will, Mr. O'Hart, we will contact you. We're going to contact the consultants, get a proposal to do the additional work. I know some monies have been requested from you, from the wetland scientist.
Yeah, I dropped them down to rake off yesterday.
Very good, and we'll come up with proposals. We'll send them off to you for the extra work being done, and if it's acceptable, then you would submit payment, and then we'll forward the plans to be reviewed, and hopefully we can get that all done for our next meeting. We should be able to.
So we had some dialogue with Lenore today.
Yeah.
Can we send information directly to her, or should we?
I want it to come through the board now.
Okay.
Right, and she'll pick it up.
Yeah, there's information there. If there's any supplemental information we can provide, we'd be happy to do so. As far as Beta responding to their comments,
Yeah.
same process.
Yeah, I'm actually going to speak to our consultant, because basically what I had said at the beginning of this meeting, this public hearing, when there are discussions and recommendations and agreements on changing flags or wetlands line, it is not Lenore's jurisdiction to decide which side is right and what to acquiesce on. It always should be coming before the board. We make the decision having both sides input and decide whether we want to take either one of them or not. So that's something that actually bypassed us, that shouldn't have. So basically, from now, I want everything to come through the commission's office,
Well,
okay?
just so I'm clear, what bypassed? The site visit?
The determination of what flags were acceptable, what flags moved, and why and not. All of that should have been at a public hearing for everybody. That was all done outside our jurisdiction. That's not acceptable. And I had mentioned that at the first filing. I give you folks the right to talk and confer and to discuss things in the field and try to come to consensus. But you do not have the right to agree on the consensus. That's this board's decision to decide where the line's going to be, not consultants.
Noted.
You get it? All right, so we will talk to her about that. I certainly will. That's why I was asking you on the agreements and what had happened, because we...
Yeah, well, there must have
we
been a
really knew-
misunderstanding between Lenore and the wetland scientists, because they...
Yeah, there must have been, right. If we pull up the minutes for the first meeting, it's always been my instructions, because we make the final decision, not consultants. Because we, in the end, have to approve this wetland line that's there right now. This line is not approved until we approve it. So we have no information on the discussions that happen now, so we're a little bit behind the eight ball as far as why should we approve this line. Are you all set, Jan?
Yeah.
All right. So we will continue this public hearing until September, is it?
14th. How easily we get buried.
Okay, we can have this come at 7:20.
7/20, that sounds good.
What was the date of that? 14th?
Yeah, September 14th at 7:20 PM.
Motion to continue this public hearing until that date?
So moved.
All in favor? All right, so we'll see you go back then, and hopefully we get all this done in the meantime, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Hello. See, I told my agent, tell you, with the public hearing process going on, I really can't discuss this project.
One thing was just to make sure you got my letter about the project description.
I will check with
Okay.
Janet, right, yeah. With whom? All right, and that's all formalized in the letter?
No, this just happened on the site visit.
All right, so you should, you should have either brought that up at the public hearing or,
Yeah, I just don't want to get into it.
right, I understand, but I can't speak to you about
Okay.
these things on the
Okay,
side.
that's
It's an
good to
open
know.
meeting violation, that's the problem.
That's fine.
But you can,
Should I put it in writing?
Yes.
To the board?
yes, you definitely should, that's a better way to do it. Put it in writing and submit it to our
All right, good.
office, and then we'll all get a copy to read it,
I
okay?
appreciate it, thanks.
You're welcome, thank you.
They're saying that these people are doing with
Splitting hairs.
The fact of the matter is that most people don't understand the difference between local and a state farm.
Right.
It's very different. I'm sure that some of those things.
Is this a 25% affordable?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
So it is a 40B.
I can tell you there
it's
was
a state permit, which means they bypass us.
Bypass almost everything.
Right.
You know Franklin's
I
right
would love
over
to
there.
conserve if there's a town email.
Yeah, you know why?
What's that?
Because they build apartments.
Everybody does with apartments, because you build 100 units,
150 units or whatever.
150 units, and you put 25% affordable, you count all 150s. That's the only way to really
This
get
town
to it.
refuses to allow apartments.
Send a document
That's the size of that one up on
Yeah.
Union.
that's public speaker, but I do have.
I know. So we're working on a couple of potential 40Bs they've been talking to about trying to get to the number in more like in that way, so we'll see. There's one from Buckley Man that's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that gonna get, is that gonna have like an apartment
The
setup?
initial plan has 50, and then about 150 homes, perhaps.
How much of that is in Franklin now?
Yeah, what's that?
How much of that is going to be in Franklin? None?
I had Amy's phone number, but I don't have the actual, like,
Southwood is proposing,
Yeah, but trying,
really a whole bunch of,
because under
the Southwood
conservation,
project is
this
proposing enough to get us up to the number by itself.
That's a good spot. to put
That
it.
would be good.
Yeah.
That's what's in that.
Is that 100 acres up there?
Yeah. Up right there.
You should buy it.
Well, I'd love to.
in conservation, but if you read,
Build myself a mansion up there.
Right, the biggest state lot.
just call.
Okay.
It's haunted.
Sounds like my 300 by 300 foot barn.
That's fine. Great. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank
You mean a football stadium?
you for hearing and being here, huh?
I just wanna build a barn and then the inside have a
Okay, so we have orders of condition here for, to vote on for 6 Lake Path and 9 Spring Street.
Right, order conditions for 6 Lake Path,
Spring Street, they can move forward.
Yeah. That would be
9
fun.
Spring Street is the septic. They want a certificate of compliance. That's Spring Street right down here on the back of Main Street. And remember, they got denied before
Right,
with us.
Mr.
They,
Curl.
they turned the thingy. So this is order conditions for that septic repair on that beautiful lot with the deer and everything.
All right, so accept the motion to approve the orders of condition for 6 Lake Path Drive.
I had emailed that to people to review.
Yeah, I listened to it. Or watched it. There's an echo on this thing, by the way.
Just
very
push it away
annoying.
from
I
the
make a
phone.
motion that we accept the order of conditions for 6 Lake Path.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
6 Lake Path. So I should have a little tag on there for signatures.
I see it right
Oh,
here.
good. And this is the, I do a couple, these are the people anyway. That'll be the Six Lake Path,
Recognize the face, yeah.
homeowners.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are those your boats down there?
They are.
Now, you're not putting that big one in that water, are you?
I think if we did, it would never come up.
So it's like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, just checking.
If we could get that in there, we wouldn't have needed the house.
Yeah, you could probably live in there, huh?
Next, we have
A big
a
boat.
certificate
Okay,
of
so,
compliance.
like I said, tomorrow morning, if you, any time during the day, 9 to 3, you
Yeah.
can come in, sorry.
Are you all set?
Yeah, just letting, they're coming in tomorrow to pick that up.
You guys all set?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So next, we have a
Have a good evening.
You too.
bye-bye. Certificate of compliance application for 9 Spring Street. Motion to approve that.
Which one is 9 Spring Street?
Janet, would you let Dan know what this was about?
I don't remember Spring 9. Oh, is that the one was right down here?
Down
Yeah,
here,
okay. Yep, I remember
Alice
that
Ave or whatever,
Yeah.
remember they got denied before and then they returned it or tweaked it or something.
Yep.
It came
That was
out
the
really
curls.
nice.
Yeah, I remember
She
that.
did.
Mrs. Curl.
Yep.
You did good.
Right. So I'll accept the motion to approve these
Am I approved for
certificate of
am I
compliance.
approved for that one?
For
This one? Oh, my
9 Spring Street?
Mhm.
What does this look like?
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Name will be in the folder. If you
She has my name on it, so.
On 7, Janet, on 7 Diamond Street, do you have a request asking for extension for the orders of condition?
Oh, yeah, because I just did, he came in for his building permit finally on that, so when I pulled the folder to just double check. So I sent him a
Right.
letter.
So has he requested formally the,
Not yet, we haven't gotten that yet, but he was in, so I
All right.
went over those points with him.
okay,
just
so we don't
make
have to
sure
do
he's
anything on
aware.
that yet
Not
then?
yet.
All right, okay. Do you have any other items for us?
Thank you.
We got
Um,
minutes here.
Right, and I had one, oh, bless you,
I don't have that
thank
information.
you. Yeah, we'll get that on for you, thank you. And the minutes, I had one change on the, that I would appreciate on the 3rd page. I can't find my notes. Inland, right, an inland resource area, to change that to inland restricted wetland. On page 3 of the minutes.
This is just terminology.
Oh, that's for,
It's on the 8th sentence.
84 Cleveland. Yep, where am I? Page 3, top paragraph. Top paragraph. A little past halfway. Ms. DeLonga gave Mr. O'Connell a copy of a town plan showing inland restricted wetlands and requested that a note be put on the plan.
That's been changed?
These are the new plans, I don't know. The ones he just dropped off tonight, it's for the 84 Cleveland, because they've got 2 inland restricted wetlands in the
Right, but I
wetland
mean, the
areas.
minutes, you've got a note to change the minutes to that.
Oh, yeah,
Correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, change inland resource area to inland restricted
All right.
wetlands.
You might have to vote on these ones. You get another number.
I think you can still, well, can you still vote even though you're volunteering? I know we're
That's
back.
never been clear.
Would you rather we wait until we have another member? That's no problem.
Get them in order and ready to go.
What's that?
Get them in order and ready to go, and then
Yeah, okay. So we'll vote on the minutes when we have Dan and Tom are not present for this, so we'll wait until next time we have other
Okay.
members here that were present, okay?
Okay.
All right. Everybody's got the NStar, letter about the gas pipeline, the right-of-way access?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, they have a right to do that, you know, end of June through fall. And they gave all the, you know, here's the little plan maps and everything, but it's just basically making sure that right-of-way is okay. And if the grading, I don't know if it's dirt bikes, I don't go out there, if it's dipped or whatever, they can come back and fix the gravel or plants or neat and tidy in case they have to get out there.
Did you get the fee for 25 Myrtle Street? Was that paid?
Oh, for the ad, yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for us, Janet?
Yes, and I'm sorry, remember when I mentioned about somebody with conservation land, and you said, did you mention to him about joining conservation? And I didn't bring in your name, and I don't remember.
Oh, it's Chris Roberts.
Hi,
Chris
how are you?
Roberts.
So, are we talking about you donating land or
Oh, no, I was interested in volunteering.
volunteering?
That's even better.
Who coerced you into that?
Myself. I used to be on the cultural council, and then I moved to Franklin, and then I moved back to Norfolk.
Do you have any background in wetland resource areas or things like
My
that?
background is I'm a owner of a child care center,
All right.
and then I have a real estate background.
Do you know how to read a plan?
She wants
Can
to
you
go to the
read?
microphone.
Oh,
Can you stand
go to
at
the podium.
Have a little sign.
The audience wants to, TV audience.
Yes.
Can you read plans?
Yeah.
Basic plans? Or?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, in building my business, I had to put plans together for the different, partitions and everything. And then just through real estate, and reading all deeds and reading plans through there.
What made you decide to have an interest in this area?
I was looking at the master plan. I was looking at recreation. I'm a big hiker, so I love going outside. And so I was looking for places to hike in Norfolk because I've been doing the Bay Circuit Trail and the Warner Trail and go hike here and there and everywhere. And I go with my mom every weekend. I'm like, there's got to be something here. We live here, So, like, where can I go? So I started looking up everything that I could here, and just have been over the summer going to all the open space areas because what I would like to do is to be able to help create a hiking trail that goes through Norfolk.
This guy here probably knows every trail in the town, so
Nice.
he'd be your best resource, I think.
Some of them.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's just one of the things I'm interested in, and I was researching, there's a lot of different people that were, like the town survey came out and there were people that were interested. And I'm like, hey, me too. So I was doing all this research on my own, finding all these places. I'm like, it could be helpful to
Sure.
inform other people. Maybe they'll go for some walks too.
If you decide you want to join us, I think the process is you will have to submit a request letter to the town administrator, saying you'd like to be considered for the last position we have on the board.
Okay.
And then the selectman may call you in for a conversation just about your thoughts, etc. And they would be the appointing authority, so they would go right from there. My suggestion is if you would like, you can stop by the office and pick up a copy of the local bylaws and our regulations. It just describes resource
I've
areas.
read them, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Right. If that'd give you an idea of what really our jurisdiction is, because we have jurisdictions in
Oh.
some things, and like this young man here tonight was asking, we don't have jurisdiction in others,
Right.
so-
No, that was informative.
Yeah.
But there's also, a lot of the things that I'm interested in also relates to like the historic committee too, or the commission, so, this is where Rocket's house was, and that's Indian Rock over there, and we can have somebody could walk from here to there, or you can walk from there to there. Or,
This would probably be a little bit more contentious than the historical committee. Right. Yeah, slightly, on occasion.
Or the cultural council. I mean, we talked about the art show and the grants for.
Well, that's great. If you after tonight, still decide you want to consider it, send off a letter to the selectmen. I'm sure they'd get you on the agenda and,
Like volunteers.
there you go. For the day, I like to have people help in any way
Is
they
that
can.
something
so-
that's like reasonable though? I mean,
Right, yeah.
you know, like the idea of, I mean, because there's multiple things. You're here and you're, you know,
Yeah, well,
there's so much that you really do. I've been watching some of the previous meetings on Norfolk Cable, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like, wow, there's a lot.
but you get
wouldn't expect.
education as you sit here and start to learn some of the different things. You pick up
Yeah.
a lot over time. A lot of us, knew far, far less when we first started. So one thing, you come in, just absorb it. But like I said, we have the handouts there that describe really what our jurisdiction is and the type of filings that we have. And they're very helpful just to give you an overall view of what the commission does and what the purpose is, But that'd be great. So, as I said, if you're still interested,
Yeah, thank you.
send a letter off to them, and I'm sure they'll bring you right in. If they have a live one. Anybody have any questions? No?
Oh, if
Okay.
I may though, because we had one gentleman came on, very nice, fit right in, and then his job changed to like, remember, 24/7 or whatever it was, but it was like, I think he was here a couple meetings, and then he couldn't come anymore.
Yeah, I
'cause
have
work
a
changed.
like I have multifamily
Yeah,
property
yeah.
that I have rented. I live with my folks, and then I work about 20 to 30 hours a week, and I have 2 small children. So I kind of set up my time to be able to have a little time extra, and something that I consider is, how do you, how do you take those good ideas that you may have for yourself and help share those things? So
Right.
with that, it kind of blossomed into, if you have a couple extra hours, then that can also.
The most we have met in the past is the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, but in the past number of months where there's been less activity, we're going to be meeting one Wednesday a month. So it's really not a lot of heavy lifting, but
Right.
it is important because in the state rules, if you miss more than one meeting, you're not allowed to vote. So it's important to try to be here when you can, and if you miss
Right.
any.
Right. Oh, I understand that, and I already think of it even with my business, how I would be able to manage, so that the time, to be able to, I can leave work at this time, so the meeting's at 7. You know what I mean? So I've already started to think about how that fits in.
Great.
It's not like, I have to work, so I can't be there.
That sounds great. All right,
Yeah.
so I'll tell Jack to maybe expecting a letter from
Yeah,
you.
I think it would be interesting.
Very
My
good.
wife is like, you have to do it, Chris.
She just wants you out. Right, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Thank you, Chris, for coming in. Appreciate that. All right.
Good luck.
Good night.
Too.
You know where we are, okay? So if you have questions. Thank you.
Anything else before we adjourn here, Janet?
I've been so off my papers here.
I had
Oh,
one question.
the one thing somewhere, was it DEP, MACC, August 24th or something?
Oh,
They
yeah.
have that.
About the pipeline?
Yeah, so I might go to that. It doesn't look too bad from here. I have a horrible sense of direction, but it doesn't look too bad, so.
It's on the other side of Milford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right
it's
here.
up by
It's on the
Worcester.
other side of Milford, it's not that far.
Right.
You'll get home by midnight.
Go home the same way. No, as long as I'm not like, here's dawn and I'm still in the area, so.
Did the Lions Club ever do Campbell Forest?
We never, they might have,
They didn't.
we just didn't
I
get
would
any
know.
more.
I keep an eye, my dog keeps an eye on it. But no, they haven't done anything.
That
I
was
think there
supposed to
was
be what?
discussion, though.
Huh?
I think there was discussion.
Yeah, they were supposed to do it before the end of
Somewhere in
their year,
May.
in June.
Yeah,
May,
somewhere,
June.
some Saturday.
But I
in
think
May.
they got caught up in other stuff, so.
They have.
Probably.
Okay, so maybe this year's
Oh, 'cause
present.
I
Sounds
had-
familiar.
Don't run out the door. I had Barbara Bartholomew, is that her name? Call me today. And that Lions Club too, because. Run.
That's what it sounds like at 3 o'clock in the morning, too.
Oh,
We'll take a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
You can continue on, Jack.
Okay.
You can let the young lady know that we're.
I'll go.